Welcome to another episode of Deeper Than Sports. I am back, one of your hosts, Big E. I got my boy CB with me.
What it do?
We got a special one for everybody today, guys. We have former football alum from the University of Michigan, Reuben Riley, also known as Big Rube to everybody else.
Yeah.
What's going on, baby? What's going on?
Pleasure to have you, Big Rube. Well, with the recent success, man, the Michigan Wolverines, man, coming off the college football playoff national championship victory. We just wanted to take you back, man, to being a former player there. And what's your thoughts? What kind of feelings did that bring up for you watching that team execute its goal?
Yeah, I think it just took me back to remember how tremendously hard that journey is to be a successful football team in the Big Ten and the greater scope of college football, the NCAA. I played on some great teams, man, with some Michigan greats, but never got that job done, right? Never got the national championship, being perfect. 11-2, but not perfect. And the fact that team 144 can say that, the fact that they can say, hey, man, we beat everybody, regardless of what the background noise is, they'll forever be able to say, forever etched in history as beating everybody, being perfect.
Yeah, for sure. That was a great, as a fan, man, it was great to see, like you said, to go unscathed, but through all the trials and tribulations that they went through. 6 games without your head coach, filling in for multiple coaches on the staff. So they weathered that storm. You know what I'm saying? That iron was really sharpened by iron.
No doubt, man. I mean, I think a lot of organizations, a lot of programs would implode with that type of adversity. And the fact that they had the type of camaraderie and brotherhood and fellowship to where they just bonded together and got stronger and still got them dubs. You know, you're talking about no head coach versus Penn State, no head coach versus Ohio State. Like what? That's unheard of, man. And for Sherrone to step in and ball, and you got your right guard blow out his knee or break his leg or whatever. Like those are just little things that you don't expect some teams to overcome, man. And the fact that they did it is kudos to 144.
Sure.
And that's me, like, looking at from afar though, bro. Like that senior led team, like you have to be mentally focused and like tunnel vision on a whole nother level, bro, because you and I know, we all know that it's social media driven. It's so much stuff on Instagram, or so much on social media, negative energy, down playing Jim Harbaugh, the cheating scandal, and all these things. And you asking 18, 19, 20, 21-year-old kids to stay the course. You know what I mean? Stay the course and be able to get the job done. And to be perfect, bro. Like, not lose one game, but to be perfect. And like you said, to beat a Penn State team at Penn State without your head coaching. Beat an Ohio State team that we know Ohio State, has been losing the last couple of years, and we know how much Ohio State wanted to win that game. And be able to come to the playoffs and play an Alabama team first round, and everybody like, oh yeah, Bama. You know what I mean? Bama this and Bama that. And that just goes to show you, man, like the toughness those guys had, and it's just the senior leadership, man. I'd love to be, a fly on that wall in them locker rooms and them meetings, man, to be able to see what was said and what was done and how focused that these guys was, man. That, like, it's a story, man. Like, it's a story that, these guys persevered, man. So, as a fan for me, I was super excited. Super excited for them guys to get the job done.
I think when you, like you said, you talk about the pressure of perfection, right? The pressure of being flawless in your execution. I think for those that's too much for, you know what I mean? Looking at that big picture, don't look at it like that. You know what I mean? And I bet there's a mix in that locker room, whereas if the big picture's too big, then narrow in and just focus on your next step. Focus on getting your job done. You know what I mean? Let's not, if that's overwhelming and might bust pipes, then just focus on exactly what you got to do. And if we got 11 cats doing exactly that, then we're going to get the job done. You know what I mean? So I say this to my team all the time, man, let what motivate you motivate you. If looking at the big picture too much, then stop looking at the big picture, bro. Get more, more dialed in, more focused on the next couple steps. But if you need the big picture to motivate you, then do exactly that, man, and look at what all this thing is, what this whole thing is about, what all our work is about. So I think you got, it's times where we send both of those messages to our players, but individually, you got to reach down and say, man, what motivates me? What gets me in that mindset to make sure that I execute and do my job? And I think for us, you know what I mean, that's been there and done that. It's a mixture of the two.
Oh yeah, most deaf, most deaf. It was funny you said that, bro, because it took me back where I talk to my students all the time. I was like, you got to know what type of student are you in regards of learning and stuff like that, and I let them know like me writing papers. Like in college, you'll have a professor say, hey, you got 2 weeks to turn in a 50-page paper or something like that, right? Like for me as a kid in high school to really grasp that, it becomes overwhelming, right? Because I'm thinking 50 pages, like you said, we look at, same thing as the national championship, right? So I wasn't a great writer. So in college, I understand what type of student I was. So instead of me looking at the 50 page, I looked at my day by day. So every day I wrote 2 to 4 pages, no matter what. No matter what, I wrote 2 to 4 pages. And guess what? That 2 to 4 pages got to 50. And like you said, you got to know what type of student athlete you are. You got to know what type of student you are. So that brought me back to that. Some of the stuff I be telling my students, man.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
I want to speak to the coaching staff. You brought up Sherrone Moore, man. You being a former offensive lineman, is that somebody who you kind of had an eye on? And if you did, what kind of job do you think he done this year?
Man, I think to be able to be the offensive line coach as well as the OC, and then when Harbaugh, and then when Harbaugh had what he had going on to be the head coach, man, to wear that many hats, man, and not drop the ball, in that attempt to juggle all those positions and roles, like, yeah, man, I can't do anything but salute Sherrone Moore. And when we saw him interview and that passion came out and the profanity came out and the tears came out, I said, man, that's authentic, and I was like, I hope nobody tries to twist and turn that raw emotion and make it something other than what it really was, man.
Yeah.
Him stepping up to the plate and saying, all right, my team needs me to do this.
Us
And then,
against the world.
and then be so great at what you do to say, all right, not only can I lead, but I also know how to follow. So I'm gonna step back into my role, and it's not gonna be an issue, right? And we're gonna continue the mission. So yeah, a lot of kudos to him, man. Having 2 years the best offensive line in the nation. I think a lot of people would say, hey man, can you stop running inside zone so much? But that's also us not being in the rooms with him. It's a reason for everything. I know he's smarter than me, so when I'm frustrated that we're a little vanilla with this inside zone, I know he's looking at something else. I know it's got to be something else to it, man. And I think being a coach, being a guy that has started to see outside of the box, which is what he has to do now as an offensive lineman, offensive line coach turn OC, is you can't just be stuck in the box. You got to see what's going on the perimeter. I think he's done a hell of a job, man. I think he's a head coach candidate. I don't know how much longer we'll have him.
Right.
If we're not with Harbaugh, if not Harbaugh won't be with us anymore, then I think he's a strong candidate, man, to fill those shoes. But yeah, kudos to Sherrone Moore.
And on that point, Reuben, I think we got a chance to see a head coach in waiting, so to say. Like, the circumstances were the circumstances this year, which are unheard of. But to get 3 games under your belt as the head guy, or 4 games, like, he showed Michigan what he's able to do, like you said. So if Harbaugh's not with us, that would have to be candidate number 1 and only one for us.
No doubt.
Since you brought up that rule, in regards of, so what's your opinion? What's your take on what's going to happen next year for Michigan? You think Harbaugh gonna stay? You think gonna leave? What you think so far in regards to that, man?
Okay, without knowing all the details of what's going on, man, and this recent surfacing of Harbaugh and the AD Ward Manuel having some issues, I think what they have to understand is, there's a situation or relationship there that needs to be ironed out, but don't take too long ironing that out, because it's a lot of schools that are getting heads up on us when it comes to recruiting.
Oh yeah,
because they want to know who they're playing, who am I going to be playing for? You know what I mean? So while we're trying to figure out if Ward Manuel and Harbaugh is going to shake hands, or if Harbaugh's going to take off. It's like, all right, fellas, let's get this kumbaya on and get it moving, or what I'm saying, let's part ways, man, so we can find the next guy, so that we don't take too much more of a hit in this recruiting as it becomes to the later times in recruiting and the transfer portal and guys going and declaring and all those types of things, man. So it's like, yeah, all right, fellas, let's speed up this kumbaya process, or let's go ahead and break up so we can move on.
What's the issue? Like I haven't, I haven't been on it as much. I know Harbaugh is Harbaugh, and I think, as a player, I would love to play with somebody like that, because he don't care. He gonna speak the truth, and in regards of NIL money and revenue, he's gonna sell his players, bottom line.
Yeah.
And that's who he is. So I would love to play for a guy like that. But what is the friction between him and Manuel, if you do know?
You know what? I really don't know that answer. You know what I mean? I was surprised when, Ward Emanuel being a former player, I think he was late 80s. Harbaugh was mid 80s. So I don't know if they bumped heads way down the road, or they're time lapped down the in those 80s. But I'm not sure what the issue is. What I think is going on, man, is Harbaugh might be, too expensive, right? 125. He might be saying, or even what he wants, the ability to do certain things within the NIL, or just the stuff that the AD would normally say, we don't really give these head coaches this much jurisdiction over these types of things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Where he's like, all right, will it back, man. Maybe you're getting, too much of the big head. Or Harbaugh could be saying, man, I don't really felt you had my back during those times of adversity, man, when I was being accused of being a cheater, or when, I bought a couple cheeseburgers during COVID, and that, like, I don't know what the narrative is, but I think it could be painted in many different ways. And without sitting down with those fellas and saying, man, what's the deal? Everything's so cryptic where you never really get the raw truth. You know what I'm saying? But all in all, like I said, whether it's this can be made up or it's irreconcilable differences, make a move, man, because right now we wasting time, man. And it's a lot of kids saying, hey, who am I going to play for next year? You know what I mean?
Yeah. If Harbaugh leave, what you think gonna happen at Michigan?
If Harbaugh leaves, I think we could still be powerful. As far as our coaching staff, if we could, retain those guys. I think if Harbaugh leaves, he takes the defensive coordinator mentor with him.
Oh yeah.
So now, now we need to replace a head coach and a DC. And that DC ball, I mean, he had those boys balling. The type of heat that D line was putting on God, like that was amazing to watch. And I it's been a long time since our secondary's been that solid. So hats off to Mentor, man. But I think if Harbaugh leaves for the NFL, he takes Mentor with him. Unfortunately.
Oh yeah, most definitely. I see that too. E, what you think, bro? What you think gonna happen?
I could see that same thing. My only hope would be that they would leave, like we talked about earlier, maybe a linebackers coach behind, somebody that knows the system, somebody that might have been with Mentor, maybe in Baltimore before, and I traveled with him to Michigan. So our defense doesn't take a big hit, because that won us some games. That was a part of who we were this season. So I would love to see that continue on, you know what I'm saying? But I would love Mentor to stay, but I get it if Harbaugh gets an NFL job.
And speaking of that defense, bro, like I remember I was talking to E. We offensive guys, but we understand football. But in football, when there's only a few teams in history, bro, that is good on the first level, second level, and the third level. And they had number twos getting reps, and that's playing solid and playing well. So when those guys is coming in, they wasn't like no practice squad guys or no guys off the block or off the street. They was coming in still making impact. Yeah. So they was so deep, bro, so deep. And then it didn't skip a beat, bro. So I was amazed at that, bro. I was amazed that, man, like I was just like, wow, like, you know what I mean? Like the rotation, these guys playing well. And of course, Mentor put those guys in great situations to be successful, and they had to know a lot too. Like I paid attention to a back end a lot, secondary. It's like against Washington and Bama, bro, especially Ohio State. The coverages was so creative, bro. Safeties was doing so much moving, and it was tough, man. Like safe quarterback couldn't get no pre-snap read. Everything was post-snap. And then sometimes post-snap be sometimes when you get the post-snap read, now your eyes go out to the blitz, the pressures. You know what I mean? So yeah, I was just amazed at that, bro.
Pre-snap and post-snap don't matter when all
But
your alignment on skates, when they all doing the moonwalk, it don't matter. You got that heat on you.
Exactly.
You being a former quarterback, man, especially when that heat coming right down your mustache, it's like, man, all right, I don't know what's going on, man. But yeah, I think it takes me back to what Coach Carr used to say, man. The expectation is for the position, not the man. You know what I mean? So there's talent and special guys and quorum and this and that. And yeah, all these guys have their own special individual talents, but the expectation is for the position. If you are playing defensive line at the University of Michigan, there's an expectation. If you are playing offensive line at the University of Michigan, there's an expectation. Really don't care what your name is. You know what I mean? The expectations for the position, for the job.
Speaking of that,
more, Rube.
Same, man. You talking about Lloyd Carr, man.
Hey, bro, I was gonna say that. That's what I want to know. Like, so during the lean years, Big Rube, like, I know it's hard to watch. It was hard to kind of not be a part of because that's your alumni, but just like, come on, man, this is not what we're accustomed to. And now to kind of get back to being physical and outmanning people and moving people against their will, like we once did in the Lloyd Carr era. Like, how is that to see for a former alumni?
Yeah, I mean, well, you're talking about 1,000 wins. You don't get those, that many wins being a mediocre program.
Correct.
Well, I remember in my time there that 7-5 was a horrible year.
Right.
8-4 was borderline, like, we got some things to fix. So historically, we're a spoiled fan base. The expectations are high for the University of Michigan, regardless who's there. I just said it. The position, right? Head coach. It don't matter if we like the guy or don't like the guy. This is Michigan. The quarterback, you a walk-on or whatever, like the expectations for the position. So to have those lean years, man, and I won't even say mediocrity. There was a few years, man, and we were subpar. That was difficult to watch, especially when you get I hate to say this, but I got Sparty's barking at me in a way where I'm like, man, y'all don't even understand, what's really going on, man. You got, in a trash can, get a steak. You know what I'm saying? So with situations like that, it's definitely hard to watch, man. It's hard to understand why we're struggling the way we are, man. But I think when you get away from what works and you try to be so non-traditional that you're just looking for the next new thing, you can get yourself in trouble by trying to fix things that aren't broken. You know what I mean? University of Michigan was never broken when we let somebody come in there and try to revamp everything. I just don't think that's who we are. You understand? So yeah, when we had to, rebuild from somebody completely destroying what was already, but like you said, to Coach Carr, man, love that dude, leader of men. But he just instilled, like, man, we're Michigan. And for a long time, that didn't mean nothing to a lot of people. But it always meant something to me because, like I said, I went through there, blood, sweat, and tears. But yeah, man, we're Michigan used to mean something, even in the recruiting standpoint. You want to come here because we're Michigan. And for a while, that wasn't enough to get top recruits and for people to say, yeah, you're right, we are Michigan.
When you was at Michigan, bro, your freshman year, if you go redshirt freshman, sophomore, junior, senior, what was your records, bro, through your 4 years?
So let's see. Redshirt freshman year, I think we lost. What did we lose? 3 games that year.
8-3, 9-3.
9-3, I want to say, man. Let me go back the other way. This will help me better.
Yeah.
Senior year, 11-2. That was we lost in the Rose Bowl versus SC. That's when Dwayne Jarrett went off.
Oh yeah.
And then that was the Ohio State year where we were number 1 versus number 2.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
was nice.
Bo had passed that weekend. The year before that was that 7-5 year. That was, I mean, just a rough year, man. I think we lost all 5 of those games by a total of like 21 points. So yeah, it was just we didn't know how to finish. I talked to Dave Harris about this a couple of weeks ago, man. Like that was a rough year because we didn't finish. You know, we was in every single one of those games. So I think that previous year was a Big Ten championship. I want to say 9-3. And then the year before that was another like 9-3, and then I think my freshman year was 8-4. So not a lot of losing, man. Not a lot of losing. And even coming from high school, you know, I lost my first game as a freshman on varsity in high school, you know. So my 2 years at King Park, 2 years at with the Creston 78ers, hadn't experienced losing at all, man, you know, and then to get to Creston and be a freshman on varsity and go 2-7, why the you know the JV and the freshmen are undefeated. I was like, man, I need to rethink this thing a little bit, being a freshman on varsity. But you know, fast forward, and man, I you know I could count on a couple hands how many times you know I had lost in college, man, and like I said, as fans, as alumni, like we're spoiled. We expect to win. We expect to dominate. So yeah.
So I want to talk to Rube. I want to talk to you, man, in regards of, you know, the transfer portal, NIL. What are your thoughts in regards to that?
I love it. I love it. Conservatively, I say can we wait and hold off and give these boys their bread once they graduate, once they finish doing what they're doing at the school, just so we can eliminate some distractions. But at the same point in time, we know that it's a lot of kids up there that they may be on a full ride scholarship, but they're still hungry. You know what I mean? Or when you only can take one class, or you can't take any classes in the spring, summer, now you got to fend for yourself, and all those little inner workings that you know outside looking in don't know about. Like I get that. But yeah, I think it'd be a cool incentive to say, man, upon graduation, you're a millionaire. You know what I mean? But some can be a millionaire while they're still playing. What I don't like is the fact that we're paying high school kids before they throw a ball, before they, you know, catch a pass, before they make a block, you know, before they come downhill and make a tackle. You know, how is it that a high school quarterback can be worth $2, $3, $4, $5 million and you don't know if he's going to make the transition or not? I think that's where Michigan kind of gets in trouble sometimes with being a little conservative on how much they offer incoming freshmen, regardless of how highly touted you are. You know, where we might lose out on some of those recruits because they want to go where top dollar is. You know, I like NIL. I like the ideal. I understand that. You know, Harbaugh often says, man, people making a lot of money, but the talent isn't. You know, and this is a step in the right direction. But with everything, there's always tweaks and things that can be done better. But
I agree with that too.
Yeah, paying these high school kids this type of money, man, before you know if they're gonna make the jump.
Yeah, I agree with the conservatively piece too, Rules. Like I said this years ago, I remember I got into it with a guy at a barbershop. Not got into it, but we just had a conversation regards of it. So my spiel was like, man, they should have that for them. Like you said, graduate, here you go. But like you said, you know, I know that these guys is hungry. Number one, a lot of this NIL money is helping they mom and dad out, or the single parent mom or the grandparents. You know what I mean? So now it's just like, man, how can we? Okay, if we get this guy $250,000, how can we help him? Right? How can we? I know they taking classes. You know, I did some research in regards to they taking class on it, but I understand it is a distraction, bro. It is a distraction, and now it's just more of a, like you said, colleges could get in trouble by offering this 5-star quarterback. You know what I mean? But now the quarterback, the conversation is how much you gonna pay me. Like I'm not going to Ohio State. I'm gonna go to USC instead of Ohio State because USC or Ohio State offered me 1.5, but USC offered me 3. So now it's that's where we I mean, that's what it is now. You know what I mean? So
It makes me think about. I know you guys remember playing the old NCAA video game, right? I think it stopped in 2014. But when you were recruiting kids and you were deciding, all right, what pitch am I going to now pitch
yeah,
to this kid that's going to get him? It's
yeah,
like, all right, there's another tab now. It was Coach Prestige,
yeah,
college, the college
Yeah,
success, the success
yeah,
of the program, playing time. Now it's money. You know
money.
what I mean? How much money am I gonna get out of this? So it's a whole nother tab to
mhm,
trying to figure out what pitch is going to get these recruits that I think can help out my program.
yeah,
But you also got you got the situation where there's other schools that can't offer that money, and you create this gap.
mhm,
Um, but I think all in all, it's a good thing because if so much money is being made off of this game, the talent should be benefiting from that as well. So
heck shit. Heck shit. You got
I
something
agree
to
with that.
add on that, E?
Yeah, I want to like kind of specifically hit the transfer portal. Like
Oh, yeah, yeah,
being at a school like Michigan, McRube, like how much can you build a team, or how much can you build an offensive line, or do you even want to build your offensive line or team through the transfer portal?
um, I think it's important to get into why that individual is transferring. You know what I
Okay.
mean? It's not all players are leaving a situation because they didn't take care of business at their previous school. But at the same point in time, everybody's got some baggage, right? It's like dating. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Like you broke up with that with what's a name for a reason.
yeah,
You got to figure out that reason, man. You got to figure out if that presents any red flags
yeah.
or concerns that you could come in and hurt this locker room.
Mm-hmm.
But I think also having confidence in your locker room, saying, "Yeah, I could get this guy that maybe bumped his head at his previous school, but I got so much faith in my locker room and the leadership that I already got on this team.
Yeah.
I'm not asking a selfish guy or ego guy to come in here and lead. You know what I
Okay.
mean? So I think you can build, your roster through the transfer portal. At the same point in time, I think you reserve on just not accepting anybody because you got to know, all right, man, why didn't that last situation work? You know?
Yeah, for sure. I like the way you put that. The whole dating reference. That's perfect.
Bro,
I also
the transfer portal at Michigan is different than other schools. So I did some research on this, and it's a guy that go to Michigan. Me go to my school. He just a diehard. He said if you look at the transfers that come into Michigan, bro, they either grad transfers or first year players because their credits don't transfer to Michigan.
got you. Makes
Yeah,
sense.
Michigan, the state of the heart. We ain't taking that. We ain't taking that. So that's why you think about
Rube
it, bro.
know about that.
They get these grad transfers, bro. And
Yeah, man.
and if you think, and then Michigan plays it so well too, bro. Like, think about it, right? Their O line, so they gonna lose 4 this year, I believe. I think 4 gonna go to the draft.
They
But
all
guess
gone.
what? Huh?
They're all gone.
Oh,
Yeah. Henderson, Keegan, Nugent,
Yeah.
Barnhart, Trente Jones.
Barnhart
Uh,
leaving too?
are they all gone? Yeah, and even Zenter who broke his leg, man.
Yeah.
They all gone. So it's time to usher in a whole new group of cats, man.
But the
Mm,
beauty is too, Rue, what I was saying is this. So I love how Jim Harbaugh and more Sherrone, they play a lot of linemen, offensive linemen throughout the year.
Hmm.
They play
mm,
like 7, 8, 9 guys. First of all, it helps them get reps, right? It's a scheme thing too, right? But also it keeps those kids engaged to not to want to transfer, bro.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Why you think they rotate so much on defense? Because guess what? If they don't, them guys gonna hit the portal.
Mm-hmm.
And they thinking outside the box there. So now what happens is Michigan lose 5 guys, but also their offensive line, those guys gonna be confident and ready to play because guess what? Them guys been playing. And then a lot of times I know they got this guy, I remember he went to Cass Tech like 3 or 4 years ago, but he played center, Rube. But he got
Um,
to be a red shirt junior now.
Raheem Anderson.
There you go.
Yeah.
He got to be ready now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So he been waiting on this shot, bro. He could have been left.
Yep.
But he been waiting on this shot. I think he got to be a junior now, or going to
It's a
be
couple cats, man, that you should see them, but like you said, they put the work in, they paid the dues, and they're like, all right, I've stayed here for this moment. Like, this is my turn now. We just had all the offensive linemen take off. So Greg Crippen and Raheem Anderson and Giovanni El Hadi, guys like that. Is like, hey man, you've been waiting in the balance for a long time. We should see a hell of a performance out of you in spring ball and then fall training camp, because that's why you came here.
Exactly. And then, like, now that rule that I'm thinking about it, bro, and I'm a skill guy, you're an offensive lineman, but right now, Michigan football is O lineman, bro. Joe Moore O lineman award 2 years straight, bro. Like, that's a big ordeal, dog.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? They was top 5, probably top 10 this year too. Yeah. So I love it, dog. I love it when you applaud and you reward the big dogs. You know what I mean?
Yo, man. O-line you, baby.
Oh yeah, real talk, bro.
O-line you look back at even 97 when we was all in middle school and in ninth grade. 97 was O-line led with a great defense. Cats like Jeff Backus and Steve Hutchinson were redshirt freshmen, and then you had at right tackle a leader like John Jansen, Dave Brand and other guys like that filling in. But even then, man, it was about a solid, strong, dominant offensive line and a stingy defense. Glenn Steele and Sam Sword and the GOAT Charles Wood. Like, come on, we can go there, but that's the formula, baby. That's the
middle
formula.
Linebacker Sam Sword, middle linebacker 300. When he 300, bro.
Ian Gold and guys like that, man, where it's like, all right, here's linebackers, but this is the linebacker that plugs, and this is the linebacker that can run with a slot or a tight end, and this is the linebacker that can swap on the line of scrimmage and come off the edge. Like, all these guys that just fulfill a role, man, that when you say, hey, all right, I got weapons here on this defense, that leads to success, even way back when that formula, holds true.
Oh, yeah.
I love it, man. I love it. You got anything else, CB?
Nah, man. You answer a lot, man. That's just the biggest thing, man. And with the NIL transfer portal, you know what I mean. So we talked about some good stuff, though, bro. Definitely did.
Man,
big.
We didn't get a lot of transfer guys when I was there, man. I can only remember a couple
the
guys.
Rules was different though, bro. Back then, like, if you transfer back then, you got to lose a year, right?
You had a whole year, bro. Yeah.
I remember a guy by the name of Grant Mason played corner for.
Oh yeah. G Mace, yeah.
G Mason, my boy, man. But that's the only guy in my 5 years at Michigan that I can remember transferring in and then boom, right away, ready to play, ready to plug in, fulfill a role. But yeah, it's like you said, rules was different, and I don't think Lloyd was too fond of transfers anyway. I know Jonathan Goodwin. Yeah, Jonathan Goodwin, who I didn't play with, but he was right before me. That great offensive lineman that Super Bowl with the Saints and
I remember.
Yeah. But Goody had came from Ohio, Bobcats. But like I said, I just don't know of a lot of guys that transferred in that era, man, to Michigan.
Yeah.
Before we get off, I want to
hold on, Coach Malone, Rube.
What's that?
Yeah.
Coach Malone back then.
Yeah.
He was big on probably bringing up his crops. You know what I'm saying? Like, we got it in house.
Yeah, Malone and Mike DeBoer, who ended up going to Central Michigan. Those guys were like, I recruited these guys for a reason. I'm pouring into these guys for a reason. They do it my way, right? Yeah. So why would I bring in this guy who's probably got a lot of whether they're bad habits or not, just got a lot of habits that I need him to unlearn in order to do it my way. So yeah, it's like, I'm gonna take what I got. I'm gonna continue to water my grass versus looking over there at the
not always greener, man.
Hey, Rube, so before we get off, bro, I want to ask this. So you was in Michigan, you was what, 2002 to 2006, right?
Yep.
So, what you've been in a lot of Michigan games, right? So, what has changed in Big Ten football, like Michigan, when you played everything from the size of the physicality, the mental, a little bit of the scheme? What has changed in the player at Michigan when you play and now when you go the sizes, when you go to the game, you might look at a game like, dang, that cat big, or dang, that cat small. You know what I mean? What has changed, bro? Like what's the difference you see, compare and contrast, bro?
Man, that's a great question. I think right off the rip, I'm gonna talk amenities. That place that place is beautiful, man. And I don't know if it's because we went from when I was there, we were sponsored by Nike. But I think Jumpman does a hell of a job of making sure like all the pretty stuff, man. You know what I mean? All the sweet
Yeah,
stuff that we like as players.
yeah,
You know what I mean? You can't do any better than that. So for guys that like, hey man, oh, that jump man right there, man. Or I'm gonna wear these 11s out here with the cleat bottom. Like,
Ooh.
as if you talk about having some sauce, like, yeah, it's all the way right over there, man. And it's the state of art locker rooms, and how you can degrass yourself once you get out of practice, and it's this like almost like waiting on a roller coaster, how you walk through the cold tub, and once you get to the other side, you done like all that little stuff, man, is state of the art of how they just treating players, man, has evolved. And not saying that we was treated like stepchilds, but it continues to get better. I'm pretty sure that rent check is a little more than $800 a month. You know what I mean? Like it's just all those things, man. And on top of our weight room was great for our time. But you look at that weight room now, man, it's the best in the country. It's ridiculous,
that
man.
way, bro.
It's
So,
ridiculous. Nutrition, they pay extra close attention to nutrition in a way that we did. We made sure that we were doing the right things, but I just think it went to a whole nother level when you got guys, making tailor-made protein shakes and different types of amino drinks after a workout, and all just that attention to their body, that attention to the small things is different. And then you got a coach who's advocating for players getting paid.
yeah.
You know what I mean? That's different. That's different. But he's advocating for players getting paid once they perform for him, not incoming. And I think he's bumped heads with some of his staff members with, why aren't we going after these big time recruits from a financial, in a financial standpoint. But yeah, man, those types of things have changed, and I think what is not changing, like I said, is the expectation that's never wavered, man. You expect to dominate, to win the Big Ten, man, and whatever bowl game, and now we got this playoff thing. So yeah, you expect to be in the mix, in the fold of, all right, man, who's the top teams in college football?
All right, I got one question before we get out of here too, Big Rube.
Yeah.
During your time at the University of Michigan, what's your favorite game you played in, and your toughest matchup?
Okay.
Because I know that Big Ten D line is some 10
Yeah.
players. I would love.
I'll tell you this, man, and I won't try to be too long about it, man. But I think I played in 7 or 8 ESPN classics, instant classics.
Let's go.
Which is, you know what I mean, which is unheard of, man.
Yeah.
From teammate standpoint, all-time winningest passer in Chad Henne, all-time leading rusher in Mike Hart, all-time leading receiver in Braylon Edwards, all-time leading kick and punt returner in Steve Breaston. I think all-time leading career sack guy in Lamar Woodley. So,
Yep.
I mean, when you talk about just playing with greats, man, I played with these jokers, and as far as competition goes, Lamar Woodley was my toughest competition. So as far,
Okay.
when it comes to playing, getting ready to play on a Saturday, I knew in
Yep.
practice, bro, I had dealt with the baddest cat in the Big Ten. You know what I
Gotcha.
mean? But it was Clifton Ryan from Michigan State.
Yeah.
It was what's my man? Tamba Ali for Penn State. You know what I mean? Those cats was different. Cliff was a 305-pound defensive end, man.
Right.
Bull rush nasty, right? Bull rush nasty. Tamba Ali was fast, man. I thought he was off size half of the game, bro. Like, come on, I'm coming out of this kick. I feel like I'm offside just trying to get to him on this kick, bro. I got to get up out of there, right? So cats
He
like
had
that, man.
long arms too, bro.
Yeah, dog.
He had
Yeah.
them long
For real.
arms.
He be in a 3-point stance, you can still see his numbers. Like, bro, long arms, dog. Long arms. So quick off the rock. So cats like that, man. But I would say my favorite game has to be the triple overtime game versus Michigan State on Halloween,
Okay.
2004.
Gotcha.
Yeah, man, that was
Yep.
one of Braylon's coming out parties.
Yep.
I think if if Stanton don't get hurt in that game, bro, it probably don't go in our favor. But Lamar had tackled him and he fell on his shoulder, and the tide started to turn. But man, that was a game right there. I think it was the
Yep.
first time we had over 100 snaps on offense, like 101 or something like that. 100 snaps on offense. That 1 versus 2 game, man, this is always be one of my favorites, even though we didn't get it.
Yep.
But yeah, those two, man, forever can be replayed. I damn near play for play in my mind because they were special games.
For sure, man. I remember being glued to the TV watching both of those games, man. Braylon went crazy the second half in that Michigan State game. And like you said, that 1 versus 2 game, man, I knew we was coming home with that one all the way till the end. You know what I'm
Hey
saying?
man, that was Troy Smith Heisman Trophy winner.
Yep.
That was Ted Ginn, man. That was
Yep.
Beanie Wells. That that was some of their greats. And that's
I
what
want
people
y'all play bro, one more time, like 1 versus 2. Like, let's run
yeah.
this back.
Yeah, right. And I think in a playoff system, man, we would have had to run that back,
Right?
man, because we lost by 3, bro. We didn't get blew out,
Right?
So we would have had to run that back, man. And what they say, run me my fade. Yeah, let's do that all over again because it really came down to
Got the ball last.
my boy Crable pushed Troy Smith out of bounds, and they thought that was a personal foul, and that really that sealed the deal. Like we were playing well, Mike Hart had 3 touchdowns all on the right side. I ain't gonna say he was over on the right side, but we was getting it done, man. We was getting it done that game. And I think we lost, 42-39.
And bro, my bad to do all this. Bro, you played how many positions you played at Michigan? A lot of people don't understand. You played
Right.
damn near the whole offensive line, man. Like that's
I would say, yeah, in game, I played everything but center. I play everything but center in a game at the University of Michigan. I think the only reason when you talk about my redshirt junior year, the only reason I didn't start at center is because I broke both of my thumbs. I broke my right thumb in training camp, and then I got moved out to right tackle, and then versus Eastern Michigan, I broke my left thumb. So I played my redshirt junior year. I played with broken thumbs. But yeah, other than center, I played every other position.
What's the best position, bro, for you though? Like, what's your position? Like, this is me. You know what I mean? Like, this is where I feel the most comfortable in. You know what I mean? Like, what was that for you?
So this is where I felt like my city lied to me, man. My whole life, man, I've been Big Rube, bro. 6'4", 300 pounds, 315, like Big Rube everywhere I go, man. And man, I get to Ann Arbor, man, and I'm medium Rube like a mug, bro. Cats 6'5", 6'6", 6'7", 6'8". You know what I mean? 330, 340. My boy Gabe Watson came in 365. So yeah, dog. Like I was medium, man. I was
We don't grow them that big here,
offensive line,
Rube. We don't grow them that big.
hey, man, G-Rap lied to me, man. But I had 28 starts in my career, 7 of them at left guard, 21 of them at right tackle, and at 6'4" with my cleats on. Everybody know I'm not a NFL right tackle. My size, my prototype was at guard, and unfortunately, I only had 7 starts at guard my redshirt sophomore year. But like I said, man, when Coach Carr met with me and said, "I need you to play right tackle. I trust you out there. The expectation is for the position." That's why I got the John Falk Award for most dedicated to the team, because I was playing out of position from a standpoint of my size and my prototype. But I knew I could get it done, for the team, for the greater good of the team. But yeah, your boy would have loved to stay at left guard for all 30 starts, all 28 starts. That'd have been great.
And then now looking at it, Rube, how did that impact you in regards to the NFL? Like if you played, in your mind, like, man, if I would have played left guard from my red shirt freshman year to my red shirt senior year, I know I would have get drafted. You know what I mean? So do you play those things in your mind, bro?
Yeah, I think from the standpoint of being a student of the game, like, man, I would come into practice and not know where I'm playing at. So when you talk about you doing that for your whole college career, you're coming into practice not knowing where you're going to be at, or if an injury goes, they kicking me or they moving me. Being that handyman Swiss Army knife for the offensive line made me a student. You know what I mean? Like when I teach it, I'm not just telling the left guard what I'm asking the left guard, what's the left tackle doing? Because if you know that, then you know what you're doing. So from the standpoint of being a student of the game, I don't think I could have been put in a better situation.
Yeah.
But from the standpoint of being somewhere and just sticking right there and getting all the notoriety for just being the left guard at the University of Michigan, I also would have been playing next to arguably the best offensive lineman to ever play at Michigan with Jake Long. And I think that could have been beautiful with, where you go, we go, baby. So every time, you zooming in on Jake, and you seeing 72 do his thing, that could have voted well for me when it was time to be drafted. But man, no regrets, man. No regrets, because I think more so with that selflessness I had to display at University of Michigan, man, it helps me in my adult life. You know what I mean? Not just the league, because I sniffed the league for 3.5 years, but being a husband and being a father and being a student life coordinator, man, I can adjust and do what I need to do for the greater good of the team, and not necessarily just think, man, this ain't my favorite thing to do, or this ain't something that's gonna get me to glory. So that sacrifice helped me as a man.
Most definitely.
Beautiful thing, Rube. It sounds like, man, you became selfless. You've probably been selfless your whole life, man. Not a selfish guy, but definitely selfless at the University of Michigan, man, which in turn has led you into a great life, man. We want to thank you, Big Rube, for joining Deeper Than Sports, man. It's been one great interview, talking all things Michigan, man. And we want to thank all our subscribers for tuning in. We encourage everybody to like, subscribe, and hit that bell notification, so anytime there's new content, you come straight to your phone. Until next time, peace.
Peace.